Hello, Larrys. It's looking sort of dark out here. It's looking sort of gloomy. There's some bands happening.
The hammer has been dropped.
The hammer has been dropped and the community is angry.
I'm so salty.
We're here to talk about the bands and the pros and the cons of the bands and what maybe are.
Why
ideas.
You should be mad.
Why you should be salty.
These are 25 facts that pro Magic players don't want you to know.
I am your honorable sensei. Across from me,
the vicious scumbag.
And together we are Longturnlarry Podcast. So let's just get directly into this. The 4 cards that have been banned is Nadu, Winged Wisdom, Dockside Extortionist, Jeweled Lotus, and Mana Crypt.
Ha! Psych, you didn't get Soul Ring. Sorry. Stay mad. You mad.
Stay mad. So let's the one that's not controversial, let's just get out the way. Nadu.
Yeah. I mean, if for those of you who don't know, he's the most recent 3-drop Simic nonsense that was legendary. That pretty much they didn't realize went burr with 0-drop or 0-equip equipments. And you could pretty much just, hey, let's go draw a crap ton of cards. Yeah, this card was honestly, I think you would agree, it was almost like a misprint. Like it was close. Like it was close to being like, wait, you did what? And they were like, ah.
Yeah, it was pretty egregious.
Yeah. I don't think anyone's surprised.
Nobody's surprised. I actually, hot take here, I think genuinely Wizards does do a good job at making these commander cards like not like terribly broken, and Nadu is just a slip up for them.
Yes. Did you see they actually quoted that they did not pay attention to his final iteration? Did you see that?
They had to they had to throw this card together like last minute.
Yes.
And it wasn't tested.
There were 2 versions and the final version didn't get a final look through, which is the one we got. Yeah.
So, you know, it's a bad mistake and it destroyed Modern for a couple of months, but I wouldn't say that like Wizards is malicious and like when you make thousands of cards a year.
Yeah, you kind of have to give them a little slack. I admit, but here's my argument. You're a multi-million-dollar company. It can't be that hard. You know what I mean? Like, it can't be so hard that you should let cards like this slip through, and then you be like, oh no. You know what I mean? Like
if you're going to make this mistake, I think you need to be proactive in banning this card. Like,
yes.
As soon as we knew that Nadu was going to be ridiculous, it should have just got banned in Modern.
This is the vicious scumbag here. This isn't going to sound very scumbagly, but 2-card combos aren't fun.
Yes, they are.
Well, okay. For most people, they're not fun.
I don't care.
Nadu is an example of a 2-card combo.
No, Nadu is not a 2-card combo. Nadu is a engine like Paradox engine.
Yes.
So it's not a 2-card combo. You need actually multiple cards for it
I get what you're saying. Like,
do its thing, but the issue is that it feeds into itself.
Yes, that's what I was going to get at. It's part of the problem.
If the lands came in tapped, Nadu would just be very strong, but it wouldn't be as gross as it is currently. And at that point, I wouldn't think it would need a ban. But the fact that like you can combo off with Nadu and like it takes forever and you might whiff.
Yeah, never fun.
Like most people, when I'm ready to concede because you're starting the motion, because I don't even want to sit here for 20 minutes while you do it.
Yeah. We made mention to this. Do you guys like just shuffling? Because that's what this ends up turning into. It's like, hey, guys, I have it. Do you have counter magic? No? All right, shuffle up.
All right, bros. I mean, for some metas, that's fine. Like if you if you pop off turn 5, and it's a 15-minute game, it was a 15-minute game, and then you get to the next one. It's just sort of like a cheap experience.
Yeah, I agree. It cheapens it. It does. Especially if you want it to not be this whole death-defying, crazy fast gameplay. Oh, man.
Go ahead and talk about your favorite goblin.
Okay, this is the only one out of this whole list. It doesn't make me mad. I agree to it, but it makes me sad. We have the Vicious Scumbags' favorite is the Gobos. If I were to have been a god of any races, I would have definitely been the Goblin King. Dockside Extortionist is now banned. For good reason. For those of you who don't know, he's a 2-drop that is unparalleled at making one-sided mana, artifacts, matters, you name it. He filled a lot of roles. And the fact that it was an ETB, you didn't have to do nothing else. If you don't know, what was it, Teamer Sabretooth? Isn't that what it is?
There's a
I'm just saying, just off the top of my head.
Teamer Sabretooth, if you can make at least 5 mana,
whatever it is to activate.
Because it's 2 to bounce back, 2 to play. If you can make 5, you're making 1 in excess every time. You have infinite mana.
This is the same concept of, you know, we don't like seeing I play this and now immediately the game is out of control. I don't think Wizards wants those cards anymore.
Not Wizards, the RC.
Oh, it's true, because Wizards is going to keep printing what
Wizards
they want to print.
is going to... We'll get into that later.
Yeah, we'll get into that. But I think that Dockside could have just been... We can get a new version of Dockside that's not on a creature. And maybe this effect, and it's a little more mana.
Yeah, I honestly think if Dockside was like a sorcery.
Yeah.
It
not an
would
instant.
not be. Yeah, please don't make it an instant.
If it was an instant, it would still be a problem.
It wouldn't be as much of a problem as it being a creature, but I would not want you to be like imagine Dockside with Flash. Like, please, God, no.
That's what I was about to get at. It pretty much was like a pseudo Flash Dockside.
Right. But you know, I don't understand why people are mad about Dockside being banned, because he's been sitting on like the watch list for, if I remember, like 2 years now. Like it was printed in 2019. Mm-hmm. I believe it's been on the watch list for at least 2 years. So we've had ample time.
Yeah, to ban it, 100%.
To be like, well, Dockside might be leaving the format. And that's what makes like Dockside and the Nadu ban different from the other two.
Yes.
Like, honestly, if you're mad at Nadu and Dockside being banned, I don't even know how to have this conversation with you.
I will say, I feel your pain if you just bought one.
I do not feel bad for you, because it's literally, he's just been sitting on the edge and it's just like, when are they going to push him off?
Yeah. He's always been right there. Nah, I'm not gonna lie, he has. It again, for 2 mana. 2 mana? You guys can't sit here and act like he's not busted. 2 mana is ridiculous for what he did. Ancient Copper Dragon technically can make less treasures, doesn't do it same turn, costs more than 3 times the amount of mana. I hate when people are like, he's not that strong. Yes, he is that strong. Thank goodness it wasn't legendary. No, I'm okay with him being banned.
All right, let's get to the two. Let's
Oh,
get to
man.
the two big ones. The two big ones. Jeweled Lotus.
Everyone's favorite zero drop.
Not mine. Mine is actually Lotus Petal.
I do like Lotus Petal too. I do.
Which is funny because it's technically fast mana. It's sort of like Jeweled Lotus, but you know, not as bad, not as egregious. I've owned 2 Jeweled Lotuses.
Honorable has somewhat good luck on polls.
No, I do. I have the worst.
You're not like
I think Jeweled Lotus is like the best opening that I've ever had, and then somebody gifted me the other Jeweled Lotus.
Oh yeah, I forgot. You pulled the full art beautiful one though.
Yeah, I pulled the 4, and that's when it was more expensive. And I was after like playing it for like 2 months, and I was just like, this card's really not all that great. It's not
good.
It's not great when like I was playing it in Modratha, and it's just like when you have Modratha out and like it gets milled over, and you're like, I guess it's there.
Yeah. It's not a bad thing.
Like when it's in your opening hand, it's cool, but in my deck, like I don't necessarily want to drop Modratha on turn 3. So it wasn't, and it just wasn't a fun card to me. I was looking for a deck to put it in. It just didn't fit my play style. So I ended up selling both of them. I think this one maybe could have not got banned.
I think this one was banned because of the other ban that we're going to be talking about.
I think this one had to go because Mana Crypt and Dockside went.
Yes. I think this was like a BOGO. It was like a BOGO deal. You had to get both. You had
to do it. Really, I think like big mana cost commanders sort of suffer from not having Jeweled Lotus.
Yeah.
But with the new design on like big mana commanders, they usually have some type of protection like ward that people cry about all the time.
Or some type, like they have indestructible or something. No, I agree.
Right. So like being able to like crack a Jeweled Lotus and put out some big monstrous creature with like ward sacrifice 3 permanents, like that hurts. Like what are we supposed to do about that? I only have 5 permanents, and if this stays out on the board, like it's just take over the game.
Yeah, it's like playing Coma the World Serpent like really early. It's like
you're already ramping, and then you put it out on like turn 4.
Exactly.
It's like,
and then if you don't get rid of it on that turn, he's gonna forever have a serpent up to make him indestructible. Yeah, I agree. Big mana matters commanders or decks definitely are upset. Artifact recursion or artifact matters decks are upset. But realistically, those cards, we're talking about it like it's a 99 in a regular deck. We all know who's actually mad. It's CDH players.
we'll get into CDH.
Yeah. But the average Joe didn't have 4 copies of Jeweled Lotus, and maybe didn't even have a Dockside. Nadu got up there in cost too. Not as bad.
Nadu was only like $5 before his ban. So he wasn't even like, remember, he's a rare.
I think he got up to like 18. He got up to like 18 bucks.
Maybe at its like
at the peak. Yeah.
Like before he got banned from Modern.
I think Dockside like stayed at like 80.
Dockside was like, I was trying to get a Dockside at some point in time, and then I'm just like, bro, like this is not worth it. I could like build a deck.
That's why I'm kind of okay with it, because it was like, you're banning it. If they would have banned like Reliquary Tower or like Naturalize or Counterspell, I'd be like, what are you doing?
Like,
Like those cards are too integral these ones, I feel like these were icing on the cake. And if you were nice enough or rich enough or lucky enough to have one, cool.
And the unfortunate part is that Wizards, apparently the rules committee had been in talks about possible bans for like an entire year to Wizards.
So they kind of had like an idea about
so
that.
So we're not 100% sure of like, maybe it was just Dockside. Mm-hmm. And then with trying to ban Dockside, well,
like lead.
We can't just ban Dockside. We have to get rid of, but Wizards.
They did that with Hull Breacher though, because remember that was the idea. Was like, do we get rid of Wheels, or do we get rid of Hull Breacher? You know what I mean? Because it was like, do you get rid of Windfall and Dark Deal and
right?
Like,
that's a whole deck archetype. We're not gonna kill a whole deck archetype.
So we just kill Hull Breacher.
Just kill Hull Breacher, right? So yeah, Mana Crypt. Mana Crypt.
Yeah. This one, I'm happy. I hate to sound like a hater, but I'm happy. We've been getting smoked by this card, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm so tired of it.
As a spectator, I'm happy to see Mana Crypt go.
Oh yeah, because me and you don't own one.
I don't own one.
Yeah, I never did. Hey, shout out big Brokey energy.
Brokey. Yeah, so like, I feel bad financially for the people who had Mana Crypts.
Yeah, agreed.
And now they're like $30.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel bad for that. And do I feel bad that this card got banned? No, I don't.
Yeah. I'm not mad about the card being banned from a conceptual side, because me and Honorable have a decently high power play group, and you can genuinely tell the speed difference between a deck that has it and a deck that doesn't.
For me, it just like, I'm a very prideful player.
Me too.
If I want to do something cool, I don't want it to feel cheap.
I get what you're saying.
Certain cards make me feel like cheapen your win a bit. If I'm playing the one Soul Ring, I don't feel bad if I get Soul Ring in my opening hand.
Yeah, that's you playing, like me hearing a player say, I put a Forest down and I put a Soul Ring and then I tap it and play an Arcane Signet. Woo! That's a hand, bro.
That's a hand. And like, we're sort of melding into like the fast mana argument as well. We'll sort of get into that as well.
Yeah.
But like, having a little bit of fast mana is fun. Yes. And Commander is about having fun. That's why I could never subscribe to, well, you gotta, if you want to ban Mana Crypt, you have to ban Soul Ring. That doesn't make any...
No.
To me, it doesn't make any sense, because the argument isn't about having fast mana, period. Because, okay, does that mean Dark Rit has to go? Does that mean all the rituals have to go?
Well, yeah.
Does that mean
we'd have to get rid of Lotus Petal? We'd have to get all of them. Like
right. Does that mean you don't play with any fast mana?
Well, not even. At what point does it become not fast mana in theory? Because there are plenty of 1 and 2 drop mana, 0, 1 and 2 drop mana producers in Magic. There's tons. So it's like, where do you draw the line?
Where do you draw? Because like, I've played a landfall deck and had 8 mana on turn 3.
Is that not busted?
Is that not fast mana? Like, come on. So
exactly. Or you have the mono black player who is on turn 1 gonna ritual out some big boys. Like, I'm gonna hurt myself, pay 7 life, exile 3 cards, and now I have a 7/7 flying trample. You know, and it's like, I had to do a lot to get it. Are you mad? Like, is that a problem now?
And then I pull out my Path to Exile, and you've literally spent.
I had to spend so much wheels
to turbo out 1 card, and then like, I spent 1 mana worth of removal, and now you have 2 cards in hand.
Yeah.
and nothing to show for it. So like there is like with some of this there is a
there's some liberty behind what these accusations there are.
So with Mana Crypt, it's the compound of having a lot of fast mana that is the issue. It is not the idea of like, well, you play fast mana at all. That's not the issue. And that's why the RC felt like they had to step in, because the ban list is not for your play group.
No, it's not.
The ban list is for, I'm going to the shop and we're playing pickup games. We need to have a general idea of what like a casual game should look like.
Yes.
And if you open up a Mana Crypt and you opened up a Jewel Lotus, there's no way in hell you're not playing them if you don't want to sell them. They're not just sitting to play. I just got them.
Check out these cards I got. Yeah, no. Especially if it's in a constructed format. Holy crap.
You're going to play these cards. So
also,
and I think specifically with Jewel Lotus and Dockside, this is the RC sort of stating that like we're not gonna let Wizards just print these 4 commander cards to sell packs that break Commander.
Yes, you don't get to just make chase cards that then don't actually apply to the meta. I stand by this. Meta is a good thing. It's always been a good thing, because if there isn't a meta, then that means that your game does not change, which then means that there isn't a balancing that goes into it. Because what happens? This thing was overpowered. We'll just say Mana Crypt, for example. Mana Crypt is a very strong card. It's hyper powerful. But if you took away Mana Crypt, now cards that were never even looked at are now going to shine, because we had to find a spot to fill in these gaps. We have to now, like, for example, I can't play, we'll use another game, they nerfed my Shadow Priest. Okay, I'm now going to be a Discipline Priest. It's not that Shadow is bad. I'm min-maxing. So now I'm going to go after the thing that is statistically better than the... You're creating this shift is what I'm getting at. There's a shift in gameplay.
You make one change changes...
All of it.
All of it, because like, okay, well, now you can't Mana Crypt. This is sort of like a CDH thing. It's harder to like Mana Crypt into Rhystic Study on turn 1.
Yes.
Now that the game is a step or 2 steps slower, the decks that couldn't compete with the turbo decks now have a foot into the building, and that changed the whole meta. That means stacks is more relevant because I have another turn or 2 to stack you guys out.
I might be able to tempo you. I might actually be able to tempo you now, instead of it just being I run away with the game. No, I agree. This makes other decks come alive. It's good. I think it's good. I think all of this is good.
Let's get into the comparison I hate the most. Soul Ring. Well, if you ban Mana Crypt, you also have to ban Soul Ring. I actually heard somebody say that like Soul Ring is more powerful than Mana Crypt. I'm just like, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any
sense. Okay, ready? You have a 0-drop 2/2 and a 1-drop 2/2. Which is better?
Well, the 0-drop 2/2 might deal damage to you.
Okay.
How much life do we have?
Yeah, we don't have 20 life. We have 40 life. Also, Larry, start using your life total as a resource, because it totally is.
Like, no, Mana Crypt is strictly stronger than Soul Ring. There is no, unless you're like at 5 life and you play Mana Crypt.
You're about to die. You have 2 life. You have 2 life and you play Mana Crypt.
Yeah, you'll never have to deal with the situation where you like, I might have to blow up my Soul Ring because I might die to my Soul Ring. Okay, but Mana
Also,
Crypt...
it only does it if it untaps. So if you just don't use it anymore, it
No,
can't kill.
no, it does it at upkeep.
Is it on upkeep?
Yeah,
You
it's
flip
on
a
upkeep.
coin?
You flip a coin.
Oh, I thought it was when you untapped it, you
Nope.
flipped. See, that's how much I know about it because I don't own one.
So here is like the core argument why Soul Ring will never go away. It's in every precon ever exist ever.
Yes. Also,
If you are delusional enough to think that the RC is going to make
every precon.
every precon illegal, and then you have to explain that to new players.
Yes. Also, it's been reprinted and printed and reprinted and printed and reprinted and printed. It's like Counterspell at this point. It has... we'll pull it up. It's probably got like 13 iterations at least.
Probably more than that.
Yeah. No, it's too integral. I think the card's been around, and it's just okay. It's okay. It's not busted.
It's a very strong card, and guess what? Sorta the thing about commanders that you sorta get to do busted stuff, and it's okay. Yeah. Guess what? If you buy a precon, you are guaranteed at least an integral busted card, which is Soul Ring.
Yeah. I look at Soul Ring like how I look at Command Tower. Command Tower is a phenomenal land. It doesn't come into play tapped, and it taps for any color in your commander's identity. So in theory, it will always mana fix for whatever you need. Who cares it doesn't have a land typing? It's a great land. Or do we need to ban it because we don't like the idea of Woobird lands? Like,
it's funny, whenever a card is played that allows everybody to search for a land.
Oh yeah, like
I usually go and get my command tower.
Yeah, it's a land that is definitely sought after. Like, it's a good one.
I feel like nobody just like, I'm just gonna go grab my command tower.
No one's mad,
like,
and no one questions that logic.
Like, yeah, you could go get your Triumph, but you could probably search out your Triumph.
Yeah.
You can't search out your command tower.
I mean, here's the other thing. Do you think it would be banned if there were 1-drop arcane signets? It doesn't tap for 2. It's just a colorless. Doesn't come in tapped, so it's not like the diamonds. But a 1-drop taps for any color.
No, that'd be banned.
Why?
1-drop arcane signet?
Yeah, it doesn't tap for 2. It taps for any color, but it's just a 1-drop, not a 2-drop.
Yeah, that's wild.
You think the 1 mana difference separates it that hard?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, it's because it can pay for itself.
Well, it's mana neutral.
That's what I was getting at, because it's not negative. Arcane Signet is negative.
Yeah, so like Lotus Petal is mana positive, but you have to sacrifice it.
But you kill it. And then Soul Ring is mana positive, which is why it's so good.
And that's why it's so good. Mm-hmm. But like, if
I didn't think about it that way.
If you're only playing the 1 mana positive card in your deck, is Soul Ring really an issue? Yes, no. Soul Ring creates like sometimes one-sided,
like turn 1s and 2s,
one-sided games. Okay. How many times have you drawn a Soul Ring on like turn 3, and it just be like, okay.
It doesn't do anything. It's nice.
Or if you're like 3 colors and you put out your Soul Ring turn 1, you're like, yeah. And you look at your hand,
2
and they're
white
all like,
pips, 3 green pips.
One color is green, white.
Yeah.
Like,
and you got 2 forests.
It's like, yeah, I use one mana of the Soul Ring. Yeah.
Oh man, that's the other thing. How many times have I not used all the mana that Soul Ring gave me? Because like you're saying, the colored pips, I can't fill that. The amount of times I'm like, okay, I tap Soul Ring for colorless. Like no. I think people are overhyping how bad it is. Don't get me wrong though. Like you're saying, when a deck is full of them, that's when the problems arise. Because now you're talking about a deck that's like, I play Soul Ring with Mana Crypt into a Jeweled Lotus with an Arcane Signet, and then they're tapping for, 8 mana on like turn 2. Like, I get that. That's when it's like, okay, you're a problem. And they're doing it every game. That's a problem. Every now and then you hit a two mana rock hand. Maybe, you have
sort of it's the thing that we live for opening hands for.
Yeah.
Like
ley lines. It's the same
and
thing.
like so many times, and I know you know this about me, like if you ever take a 1 mana hand
with a soul ring,
you're in danger.
You are.
Because
you're gambling.
Because I specifically play way more artifact removal for that exact reason. If you're going to take that 1 mana hand with Soul Ring, okay, smelt.
Yeah, the amount of times Honorable has definitely destroyed your turn 1 Soul Ring is hilarious. But that's a great example. You bet on this 1 mana hand, and what's crazy is I get screwed most of the time I take a single mana hand with a Soul Ring. I normally get screwed for it. So no, it's not that busted. It's not like I don't need lands.
And the second part that people hate to acknowledge, Soul Ring is iconic. It is. The Command Zone, the honestly first Commander podcast that's really ever existed, has Soul Ring as their symbol.
Yeah. Again, it's come in every precon. It is part of Commander. Did Mana Crypt come in every precon? No, it did not. Soul Ring did.
Your deck is 98 cards plus Soul Ring.
Yes,
sorry.
It is. Exactly.
Sorry.
I mean, the Commander tax is even too colorless. No. It is Soul Ring.
And then the other thing, you're just like, well, Soul Ring destroys your deck diversity. Yeah, so does Ramp.
Yeah, it does. How many decks, if they have green in it, just devote the bulk of their stuff to just, I'm gonna go get lands?
So if you cut Soul Ring, or you're just gonna play another Ramp piece, oh man, your deck diversity.
Yeah. Also, too, you used to tell me this. 1 card ain't gonna change your deck. It's not.
No.
You might not even see it.
It has to be like specifically really, really powerful and synergized with like everything. The rest of your deck.
Yeah, it's the Commander. But it's not the Commander.
Okay, the part that sort of annoys me about the conversation about the bans is that people are willingly being bad faith.
Oh, like they don't see the point, they don't believe.
Right. It is convenient for you to believe this now because something happened, but a couple of months ago, you had the opposite opinion.
Yeah, they were outside picketing.
And it's not because like you genuinely believe that A is real. You're just mad now.
Yes.
And that's something that like I feel like Magic players just lean into way too much. Just being angry about stuff that you don't really need that type of anger for.
But you bring up a fair point though. People were angry that none of the fast mana was banned.
People were angry that the RC in 3 years hadn't done anything.
I know. That's what I was getting at. Like, they were mad that they hadn't done the bans. And then when they do the bans, now they're mad that they did the bans.
People were clamoring. I can't believe that Dockstide is still in the format. I can't believe it. And then it gets banned, and you're just like,
why did they ruin the format? They're literally over here like, take the guns away. And then they took the guns away and they're like, why did they
defend myself?
It's exactly right. You can't yell at them for change, and then when they do the change, get mad that they changed it.
Now, if you have the argument that, okay, it was okay for Nadu and Dockside to be banned.
Yes.
And then, okay, you put a disclaimer. We are also thinking about Mana Crypt and Jewel Lotus be banned, and you give time for people to.
Oh, like kind of like almost like poll it. Like you're pretty much like polling.
You're sort of like letting people know, like, hey, we're looking at this card and it might be banned in the future. So you give people enough time so it's not just a giant shell shock. That's a different argument. That is not the argument that I'm seeing online.
Yeah. I get what you're saying, because from people, which we'll segue into the other thing we're talking about, the moolah, right?
Right.
I totally love the idea of, hey guys, here are 20 cards I'm thinking about. We're not going to ban them. Here they are. Thoughts. Because it's a community-driven ban, right? So it's like, how do you got, like what you're saying, here's a bunch of cards I'm thinking about. And then here's the list of cards I know I'm banning. And then put it out into the community and see how it felt. I feel like that's a good alternative to at least make it easier for this to be less harsh to some people. But they're pretty vocal about all of this. Like, none of these bans felt like, I don't know, to you, they did not feel out of the blue to me. None of these did.
I do feel like the Mana Crypt one and they were out
not
of the...
Jeweled Lotus, but Mana Crypt, yes.
Jeweled Lotus felt like, I was not surprised to see it.
Yeah.
Mana Crypt, I was like, yo.
I am surprised about Mana Crypt. That one I am surprised about, because I looked at it like Soul Ring. It's kind of got like heritage in the mana realm.
So to play devil's advocate to even that argument, even if we would have, when it comes to people's money, even if they would have done exactly what we're thinking about getting rid of these two cards.
Yeah.
The price of those cards are still going to plummet.
Oh yeah, because it's all based off people's thought on, is it valuable?
And then you have to be, well, if I buy it, is it going to get banned?
Oh yeah, and then people would hesitate because, well, this is what I'm getting at. This would save the people that aren't like being bad. Like, they're not abusing these things. They probably don't own one.
I mean, there's really...
It'd be good for them, but no one else, though. Yeah.
Right. So, like, do I feel like with the bannings, to me, I give it like a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like 6 months ago, we should have heard something about Jeweled Lotus and Mana Crypt maybe being on the chopping block.
Yeah. We knew Dockside was getting in. And Nadu Nadu looked, like we said, like a misprint. So it's like those two, no surprise.
Oh, Rule 0. Rule 0, Rule 0, Rule 0.
Honorable, tell the possible playgroups that may not know this. Tell them, what is Rule 0? This is a cool rule that applies to, in theory,
I mean,
all
everybody
games.
knows what Rule 0 is, but I'll say it. Rule 0 is the magical Christmas land where you get together with all your opponents, be like, hey, this is the type of experience that I want to have. Oh. So, like, I don't like fast mana and combos, and I don't like discard spells, and I don't like removal, and I don't like blue.
Okay. Okay.
Joking, but yeah, Rule 0 sort of, is a conversation that's had either in a play group where we unban braids, but we don't have to have a Rule 0 conversation about it. As soon as we all get together, that rule is already in effect.
We all came to a great example. Like you're saying, our play group said braids, which is the mono black one that states you have to sacrifice things.
Alicia Keys.
Yep, Alicia Keys. And we agreed that we would allow it to be played only because we weren't doing nonsense with it. And it was like, we really had a breakdown on it. Should it be allowed or not? And if somebody says they're not cool with it, kind of means like it's unanimous or nothing. Like, that's how these Rule 0s kind of stand.
So what these bans sort of do is it takes off the table Does your deck have these 4 cards in it?
Yep.
We don't have to have that conversation anymore.
Yeah.
Which I think is like in a pickup game scenario, just really, really productive. That I don't have to worry about like you being an asshole and like saying that your deck is this, and then you Soul Ring, Mana Crypt, Arcane Signet, Jeweled Lotus into
like, this will just be a regular fun little pocket game, and then it's like they're playing a
until
10.
Valgavoth turn 1, like
they're playing a 10 and you just opened a pre-con and you're like, I didn't
dog, what was this?
Like I didn't sign up for a tournament, my friend. Like this is supposed to be fun Magic. No, I'm right there with you. Rule 0 is cool, but just remember, if you are doing that kind of stuff, you do have to bring it up to other players that are not part of your group.
Oh, just to sort of lean back into what we were speaking about earlier. I'm pretty sure they weren't expecting the backlash. If they were, you know what they could have done?
What?
Unban some stuff. This would have completely, not completely, but it would have muted.
Oh man, I get what you're saying. So like, they're like, yeah, we banned, what's it called? Mana Crypt, but Primeval Titan's back. Yo, unban my boy. But no, I get what you're saying. I mean, there's nothing saying that they can't. There's nothing saying that they can't unban a card.
Of course, but I feel like if they were being like,
it's principle,
purposely malicious.
They start banning stuff like just to be petty.
Just ban it, and then we're just gonna unban something that like.
Ooh, I could see how that could be.
It's sort of like
it's evil.
It's like I'm taking money out of your pocket, but I'm jangling keys in front of your face.
Exactly. I could bring it back. Look, this thing.
No, I did bring it back.
Oh,
look,
yeah, exactly.
Not like we're talking about. Look. Remember the toys you didn't have?
Oh man, I can buy.
Let me get that.
Wait, no, hit me back dot side. Hey, look. No, I agree. I don't think that this could have been softened. I think that this is a good ban, and I think it opens up the idea of slightly slower, not crazy, but just slightly slower Magic games that allow, like you're saying, there's some deck types that just couldn't exist in this environment, and they now have a fighting chance. I'm not saying they're going to be busted, but they have a chance.
Let's get into this money.
Ooh. Yo, if it don't make dollars, then it
don't make sense. Number one, I feel bad for the game shop owners.
I do too.
That were sitting on these cards.
Yeah, local game stores got smacked.
If they were holding on to a whole bunch of these.
Yes.
My heart goes out to them because, I mean, you are taking a risk. When you have a business, anything can happen.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the ebb and flow of having a business, is that like there will be unforeseen things that will happen that will affect your bottom line.
Holding stock of any kind is in theory an expense and will eventually become a waste unless it's sold. So no, agreed. This is the byproduct of holding anything that you could sell.
And then if you never sell it, then it was always negative to your bottom line.
Yep.
So you're not even guaranteed to sell on product that you purchase. So
it sucks for the people that bought it. I'm not really that mad about the person. I agree. Local game stores and online stores like mom and pops slinging cards, they got hurt. I know they did. That part does suck. That's where I was saying I wish they had a little heads up. But I get the nature of that because, like you're saying, the keys dangling, that's a great example because then that would let them sway like the market, quote unquote, and I don't like that.
So, for somebody who's played standard Magic,
yep,
and have seen bans in normal competitive.
Oh man, 4 copies of it.
Four
Oh, man.
copies.
4 copies.
We're not talking about one.
Yeah. This was a
We're talking about
$200 card.
4 copies. The most recent example of this is Meat Hook Massacre in Standard was like $80.
Yes.
And your deck is running 3 to 4 copies of this card.
Yeah.
And it gets banned. Guess
Yeah.
what? You just have, being a competitive format, you just have to deal with this card having to be banned.
It sucks.
And it's unfortunate, but that is sort of what you're getting into when you're playing a trading card game that does have bans. And unfortunately, if you have a Metacrypt, you have a Dockside, every card is always
possibly Yep.
to be banned.
Exactly.
And I don't think they shouldn't ban cards because monetary value, because otherwise Wizards could keep doing all this shitty tactics that they're doing, and then these cards could never be banned.
Well, also, too, remember, price is equal to not just supply and demand, but also public opinion of the card. If the card is strong, it is expensive because people are buying it up because they want the card because it is good. So it's not even, there's not that many of them. It's just everybody wants one. A great example was that zombie goblin that came out, the Warren Trader or whatever it is.
Warren Soul Trader.
Yeah, Warren Soul Trader is a great example of, it's not that it's hyper rare. It's just everybody wants one. So it became expensive because it is good. So I agree. The price is equal sometimes to it being a good card.
And I shout out to CGB. He said this, and it's really made me contextualize everything.
Mm-hmm.
He said, when it comes to tornadoes or storms, people are most afraid about a hurricane or a tornado right after one has occurred.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah. You wouldn't be afraid of layoffs if they haven't happened. But as soon as the layoff happens, now you're afraid.
The threat of a hurricane or tornado is never zero.
The chances of you being killed by a cow
are never zero. But you're more afraid of cow killings when it's recent.
Yes. If a cow just killed somebody, and then the next thing you see is a cow, you're going to be like, oh, shit. I might die.
So that puts this in perspective that, like, we've had, honestly, like, a good, like, 10 years not having bans. And for a lot of people, this is their first big ban
ever. Yeah. They're new to the game. Like, welcome. And these players aren't going to be that negatively affected by it. To them, it's just like, oh, the professional cards that I never...
No, because if you're a whale, it doesn't matter if you're new to the game. Maybe you want to whale out.
I totally forget they're called whales. In every game, too.
In every game.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not even the fact that, like, oh man, I never got to purchase these cards and then they got banned. It is that you've been playing this game for so long, and the idea of things being banned that was out of your control, that aren't exactly the cards that you want banned, had never happened.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
In a standard or modern format, bans happen quite often.
Oh, it's regular.
So nobody's mad at a price point when it comes to bans in modern or standard, because bans happen all the time.
Yeah.
In Commander, bans
formats
do
rotate.
not happen all the time.
No.
Exactly. In standard and modern, the meta changes, and guess what? That $60 card,
it falls out. It does.
It's not $60 anymore.
No, not no more. But again, I like the idea of a game changing. There's nothing wrong with a meta shift. Just be prepared for them because they are able to be banned. I agree with you. The sentiment of this card will never be removed. That's dangerous thinking. And then at the same time too, like thinking
sets you up for failure.
It does. It sets you up for failure, but it also makes you're prone to, you shouldn't power chase either. Because then,
I mean, unless you're that type of player.
If you are, that makes more sense. But, it's not a good mindset.
Now, we're going to get to CDH, where that is the entire mindset.
Do you smell that?
Smell what the rock is cooking.
That smells like they're not wearing deodorant.
CEDH.
The most overused but not realized wording ever.
Yeah, everybody.
The deck is CEDH. Yeah, no.
What did the scouter say about his power level, Vegeta? It's CDH.
It's over CDH. Yeah, no.
I was actually really upset with the CDH community.
I'm not surprised by it. I'll say that. I'm not surprised.
I am sort of surprised. I'm really surprised. Because generally the CDH community is a lot better than this. And now I want to say, of course I don't have numbers for this, but it feels like 60% of the community is like foaming at the mouth at this point.
I get what you're saying. They almost should have a level of expertise that comes with the territory. You played in competitive Magic. You are the CEDH truly is. I'm playing the best of the best, and this deck is constantly being leaned out to be only able to do the one thing I designed it to. I mean, that's CEDH at its core.
And a lot of these players who play CEDH played other Eternal or standard formats.
Yes.
You should sort of have an idea.
They got a big card knowledge basis.
You should sort of have an idea of how this goes. And especially in Commander, these bans are not for you guys.
They never have been.
They never have been.
They're for farm table games.
And from my experience, most CDH players have known this and sort of taken this into heart, and they didn't want to split the format.
Yeah.
Now we have a lot of salty people. We should split the format. We should split the format. We should split the format. And I'm just like, remember, I feel like it was just a couple of months ago where there was conversations about splitting CEDH from regular EDH and having their own bands. And the arguments that they were having then were just like, well, if you split the format, then there's going to be like CEDH for what is the casual Commander ban list, and then we're going to have like competitive ban list CEDH.
Yeah.
And being a small community already, you can't be split in two.
Not just you can't be split just in two. It's why you don't need more than one ban list. You never do. If like I'll use another game as an example. We'll just use League of Legends. It's a very large game, and it has a lot of characters in its pool, right? There are no removed champions from that game. They explicitly would rather redo or edit a character instead of removing it, right? If you look at games that actually had to remove things from the game, it's always a singular list. League's a bad example because they can...
League is a bad example.
Hold on.
For a couple of... No, we can keep that in.
Okay,
keep that in. League is a bad example for a couple of things, because that would, A, say that everything is not banned, And then once we get to the table, we have a rule zero conversation, and then we all get to collectively choose about the cards.
You're talking about ban drafts.
You're right.
Yeah.
We all get to collectively choose.
Oh, sorry. That's what I was getting at. Was
Right.
that they don't have a ban list because they do a draft.
They do a draft
that
ban.
allows, but only for ranked, unless you want to play draft. But in general, though, the ranked version of that game, which is the quote unquote CDH of League of Legends, they already have a custom banning system for just them.
But the other reason why League of Legends is a bad example is because A, it's not a card game.
No, it's
so
not.
if we had every item that was ever removed from League of Legends available to be played,
It'd be
that
ridiculous.
game would be drastically different.
It would, because there are hundreds of items that no longer exist. Yes. The meta changed.
That game would be evil.
It would be. There would be interactions that would break it. There would be. AKA like what we're talking about for Magic here. But I guess what I was trying to allude to is a singular ban list makes sense even though you have a competitive side and a farm table side.
Here is the argument that's levied against that. If you are a community of players and you feel like the RC does not have your best interests in mind,
Yeah.
what keeps us from collectively having our own RC? There's nothing keeping you from doing that.
Yeah, you're not wrong. They're like the main referee that we all kind of agreed was okay that they officiated. So, I mean, there's nothing stopping us from creating another one. The downside is now you are invalidating. If you had two of them, then which one do you look at? Then which one's valid? And then this is going to make more problems, not less.
It's going to create more problems.
Yeah, because now we're trying to figure out whose ban list is the right one. And
which also makes like Commander sort of weird because there are going to be people who want to play in the CDH banning list but want to play casual.
Yes.
You've essentially split Commander in two.
Yes. Ranked play and non-ranked play is what they're wanting. They're wanting it to be like a queue. To where like, hey guys, if we're going to play, I'm playing by the CDH ban list. You know how annoying that would be? Like, you're like, I now have to figure out what that means if I'm not up to date. And then like my deck might not fit it.
Okay, what's high power and like not CEDH, but just what's like an 8
Yeah.
in CDH bannings?
Yeah,
I have no idea what that even looks like.
Yeah, like what they consider power to be. Yeah.
What's a 7? What's a 3?
Yeah, like we all show up to the CDH table. You know, is the 7 a Krinko deck that might win on turn 3? Is the 8 the Muldrotha that wins on turn 3? You know, like
just what does that even look like? So
agreed.
The other thing that sort of made me upset, and just to remind you guys, I am just a spectator. I would love to play some CDH, but like I don't feel like doing the proxies for it. And I don't have a big enough community that would even want to play CDH. So I am
agreed.
I am only a spectator, but I am a well-seasoned spectator.
We've been watching fights for a long time. It's okay that we don't participate in them.
Right.
We've been watching fights for a long time.
I don't have to play football to be able to critique football.
That's right.
The issue for me is that, to me, the CDH community was always a community about adaptation.
Yes.
And about figuring out the odds and ends of the meta.
Yeah, min-max.
And I feel like this now is an opportunity. The games have been sort of stale. As somebody who's been watching for a long time.
What's his name again? He makes really funny shorts. But he always does CDH shorts.
What, like King Luke?
Yeah, King Luke. I mean, like I love King Luke, but like that is a great example of the bulk of CDH games.
I wouldn't say that.
They mulligan or try to always have
the best hand, right?
The best hands.
But like, and I feel like now is like the perfect opportunity because the game has gotten so fast and see like
yes,
like the meta was very mid-range, and the only way to beat mid-range because there is no control decks. Stacks isn't really a thing, so you don't have control decks. The only way to beat a mid-range deck is to turbo.
Yes.
And these turbo decks have been insane.
Yes.
So it's either you turbo or you try to play a little bit of mid-range, but you're still sort of turbo. Like I can win on turn 2,
yes.
But if I don't win on turn 2, I do have a mid-range setup that I can like pop. It's annoying.
Yep. Remember deck diversity? Yeah.
And now that Mana Crypt and all these cards are gone, they're going to have to play a little bit of fair Magic. And that's something I'm honestly, like, thank God. Like,
it'll be cool.
I want to see, like, actual Magic being played.
I like how you put it. We're going to have some adaptations that are going to be made, and I can't wait to see what comes from this. Because I think we're going to see a lot of, instead of it just being the same decks, and they all have roughly the same base, but there's just like a little bit of difference in the bone. Like 70 cards are the same. 20 is the only difference. And it's like, are they really a different deck, right? And then, but I can't wait because I think this will open the door for things that normally would never get played and now might become some powerhouses.
So, the terrible thing that happens in CDH is red is like no longer a color. Red has only one powerful card now, and it is
Jeskai.
No.
Well, Jeskai is powerful.
No, it's Underworld Breach.
Oh, Underworld Breach is really good. Yeah.
Underworld Breach and
what is it?
And playing Dockside were really the only two reasons why you would want to play red, because they're like two of the best cards in the format. With Dockside being banned,
being gone,
like you really don't have a reason to play red. But the argument to me is that red is so fragile that without Dockside, this color wouldn't be played.
Yeah, it doesn't have enough support, at least for the uses that they're after.
And then
color splashing's different. Because red color splashed is good.
No, I'm talking about like red among all the colors.
Oh, I get you.
Like the difference between you playing like a Grixis deck and you playing Esper is, well, why would I play Esper when I can have access to Dockside? And Dockside leads to so many loops.
And other loops. Yeah.
Right. But with Dockside being in the format, you can't play enchantments and artifacts.
Artifacts matters and enchantments matters. Decks are dangerous. Yeah.
Because if I have 6 artifacts and enchantments on the battlefield and you play Dockside and then nobody can counter it,
you pretty much win.
You've officially given that player the game.
Yep.
So like, I think it's very healthy for Dockside not to be in the format. A lot of hands that are kept in CDH are either, I got Mana Crypt in my opening hand.
Yep.
And a 3-drop that can be played, or a commander that can be played.
Yep.
Or I have a tutor in my hand. I could go tutor for my Mana Crypt.
Yep, for the Mana Crypt.
And then those starts are gone. So we're not going to be in this.
Ooh, I just thought about transmutes that they were using to go get these cards too, in case they didn't have their tutors. Yeah, I just thought about it. A lot of cards that were being used are gonna be way less powerful.
Right. So I think Stacks gets better in CEDH.
Yeah.
Mid-range is obviously going to get more powerful.
By nature, it's getting a boost.
It's getting a boost because it gets to...
Everything on mid to late is getting a boost, just by nature.
And then the turbo decks that weren't affected...
are going to be gross.
Are going to be nasty.
They're going to be gross because they already didn't use these things, so now...
Or they barely got affected by these being banned.
Yep.
And then now the meta is going to have to adjust to like, well, these are now the turbo decks. How do we stop these? And you see the meta evolve into something it could have never been with these cards being present.
Which is
and
epic.
Right and imagine I'm talking about all of this, but people in the CDH community are just foaming at the mouth because they don't have these cards anymore.
Yeah.
But they're not thinking about what the meta could be. The Dockside's only been in print for 5 years. What did red decks do before Dockside?
Yeah, like that's what I was saying. Like, just because Dockside is gone doesn't mean that we can no longer use this. But like we're saying, we're talking about min-maxing, like true CDHs. I have to, it has to be
Jewel Lotus
efficient.
has only been in print the last 3 years. What did your deck do before Jewel Lotus was a thing?
Oh, it didn't exist.
Some decks like Dargo are just like not going to exist anymore.
I was gonna say there are decks that did die. They are now dead.
They are dead.
Yes.
And RIP to your homie.
Yep.
Guess what? There were decks that were dead because this card existed.
Shoot, there were decks that died when Primeval Titan was banned. There were decks that died when was it Paradox Engine was banned?
Prophet of Crufix.
That's what it's. I think. Yeah, I'm glad you.
I knew the card you were thinking about.
But like these cards, there were decks that died because these cards don't exist, and it's like, okay, I don't hear anybody screaming to the treetops that we need to unban those cards. No, like you're saying, rebuild, adapt, make new deck.
Sort of the ethos of being CDH. Okay, so let's talk about the future.
Future. Squidward's favorite rap artist.
Squidward is Future.
Oh yeah, he is Future. He's playing his clarinet in the background right now. I think the future is going to be good. I think this is healthy. I think this sets up a good precedent for future bans. I think this is making there be not like if it was we're losing on turn 4, we're now losing on turn 5, right? I don't see the game changing that drastically, right?
For the majority of players, nothing has changed.
Agreed. And so I think this is healthy. I think it's good. I agree with your original sentiment. I feel really bad for local game stores and shop owners. Those are the people I do feel bad for. Outside of that, I like bans. I do. It sucks. I'm a Goblin player. I love Dockside. The other ones I didn't own. But, like, Simic has so much. Don't complain Nadu's gone. Because, was it Thrasios?
Thrasios.
Thrasios. He isn't even banned. And
Thrasios fucking sucks.
Well, but that's a great example of he kind of does, like Nadu and him, it's a Simic. They just want landfall and card draw. And then like Dockside, yeah. But do you think everything with red is dead because Dockside's gone? No. And then Mana Crypt. I'm sorry that you can't turn 0 nonsense or turn 1, you're pseudo ritualing. Jeweled Lotus, same concept. I don't think the game is gone now. Now, you start banning, if they start banning normal cards that are like staples, that's different. But they're not. We're not banning Rampant Growth. We're not banning, Smelt. Like, you can still Demonic Tutor. You know what I mean? Like, there are Smothering Tithe, Rhystic Study, Mystic Remora. There are cards that people have been begging to have banned, and they're still here. And like the format isn't destroyed.
So here's where
angry
blanket statement from me. I think bans are, I don't even want to say that they're good, they're just necessary.
They're needed. I completely agree.
They're necessary.
Yes, they're part of the ecosystem of a game. They need to exist.
But just because if the game wasn't social, and like humans weren't playing it, and it was like aliens, and they always perfectly play exactly the power level that everybody else is playing.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
We wouldn't need a ban list.
Like every deck has to be, you know what it is? It's like a MMR. Like you have to meet, like cards have like an MMR rating. And if your deck,
they swap out of your deck instantly as soon as you put your deck onto the battlefield and be like,
yep, it averages.
You are perfectly a 7.
Yep.
We wouldn't need a ban list.
But that is a great example of power control. We're going to set a threshold that everyone agreed to, and then we will make everything meet that. I mean, it's the same concept as a ban list.
So bans are necessary for you to gauge the format, period, because you have to identify what is this format even going to look like, especially when you're in eternal format, especially when you're a casual format.
Yes. Well, a casual format that has no difference in its competitive variant. There's no game structure difference from a 4-man pod playing farm table to a competitive, you're at a tournament, it's a 4-man pod. Nothing changes. It's the same rules. It's the same everything. You don't get me wrong, there are more rules on the CDH side, but it's more like to make sure you're not cheating. But outside of that, the game at its core gameplay is the same. There's no true difference between them. So yeah, you need a ban list because there is no separation.
Because if you honestly think that, like, okay, we had like no ban list,
oh man,
it would be terrible. Like,
yeah, there'd be way too much.
You would not be able to play pickup games because the variance in the power level would be astronomical.
Yeah, it would be.
And you wouldn't be able to curtail it.
Yeah, it would be hard to have fun.
Okay, so imagine no ban list, rule zero conversation. Okay, all right. Do you have Time Vault?
Oh man.
Do you have Power 9?
I was about to say Power 9.
Do you have, like, we have your rule zero conversation now has to last for 20 minutes because we don't even have a baseline of cards that we know are okay and most people aren't playing with. And all it takes is that one person to lie about what's in his deck, and you have now ruined the cohesiveness that would have been this game.
Also, if you unbanned everything, they would only run those cards. Realistically, why wouldn't you? No, I'm saying
money.
No, I'm a whale. Why would I not run all of these? Like, not like just a pure ban list deck, but you get what I'm saying. Like, every deck that could run the Power 9 is gonna run the Power 9.
They're gonna proxy it.
Yep. Every deck that can use those cards is gonna use those cards.
When you look at CDH with the no ban list, every deck, it's like you think Thassa's Oracle is so powerful. Every deck is a Time Vault, untapped Time Vault deck.
Yep.
Every single one. It is a colorless combo and it only takes 2 cards to do.
I can't remember its name, but I think it's called Dastardly Deed or Deal. Do you know about this card? It's on the ban list. Okay, it is banned. For a black, discard a card. Or it's either a card or 3 cards. I'll look it up here in a second. But you discard either 1 or 2 cards, right? And for a black, draw 8. For a black mana. That's it.
It's wild. Imagine like somebody playing Shahrazad.
Like, people are over here like, oh, card draw so busted. Ancestral, what is it? Ancestral Visions? For a blue, draw 3. For a black, draw 8.
Hey guys, I know that this game almost came to an end. I'm gonna cast Charizard. Now we have to do a mini game to determine.
Oh, that's that card.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that card. Oh man.
I'm gonna make a copy of your Charizard.
Yep.
So now we're in a mini game that's in a mini game that's in a mini game.
What about Anti? Because those are all banned. You want to start losing cards?
Rare card hunters.
You want to lose those cards, huh, Playboy?
Yeah, no. Bans are necessary.
They're necessary.
With these bannings, I'm happy to think that like even more egregious cards can maybe get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Cards that I think might be contenders. Not saying that I specifically want them to be banned.
But you could see it on the list.
Ristic Study.
Easy. I'll go one for you. So Ristic Study. I'll say easily Smothering Tithe. I'm totally down for Smothering to get banned.
I don't want Ristic or Smothering to get banned.
But I could see them being on the list.
I could see it.
I could see it.
And I own both of them. They went. It'd be a thing. Thassa's Oracle could get out of here.
Danus Magistrate, everyone's favorite you can't play commander card. Mesmeric Orb.
Mesmeric Orb would never get banned.
But people hate it.
People hate it because people hate Mill.
But you get what I'm getting at, though.
No, but that card's not like egregious. Like
I know it's not.
You're never like taking over the. Well, you are taking over.
No,
the game.
you kind of do because it's a 1-drop.
2-drop.
My apologies. It's a 2-drop.
Yeah, but you have control.
Busted.
You have control over.
I know, but I'm just saying, like,
stop playing Magic.
These are. If you don't like it, get out. But I could easily see any of these being on a ban list. I could see it. I could. I wouldn't be surprised if I saw them. You know who I'm surprised isn't banned is Krenko Mob Boss. I'm surprised.
Krenko's not getting banned.
Back before.
Krenko is a bad card. There's just a lot of goblins.
Oh, that's so true. You're not wrong. He's a 4-drop.
Like, if they made a Krenko for horrors, you'd be like...
Yeah, because there's not enough support.
Goats.
Yeah. But if they made, like, a Krenko for elves, it'd be like, oh...
Already exists.
I know, but I'm just saying, yeah. It's like, if you make it a really relevant card typing, like, typal.
Like...
Yeah.
Krenko's 4 mana... And he's summoning Sip with it's a tap ability. You have a whole turn.
Okay, if he was a 3-drop with haste.
Still don't think he would get banned.
No?
No.
With a reducer, that means you could get him out on turn 2 without really
he's
trying.
not really... If you have turn 1 Goblin, somehow you figure out to get this man out on turn 2. He's tapping and making 3 Goblins. Okay.
It's not like crazy, but...
Yeah, but... Yeah.
I get what you're saying. They only want to ban them if they're...
Most removals, 2 mana and a 3. That's why, like, when Krenko gets out of control, I'm just like, we did this. Like, you're telling out of all of us, none of us had any removal for this card.
Yeah, nobody.
I blow him up immediately. No,
you're like the one player. You're the one player that keeps me in check. You really are. You know what's so funny? Every game that you're not in the pod that it's in, it wins. Do you notice that? You do keep it in check. Think about it.
Or sometimes I don't feel like bullying you and be like, you know what, you guys deserve this shit.
Whenever you don't, it normally wins. It does. But all I was getting at is, if people think it's gross, I see why they want it banned. Or if they find it annoying, I see why they want it banned.
I don't think that we ban stuff that's just like annoying or it might be salty. No, you need to ban cards that are prevalent.
Yes.
And they are egregious.
Yeah, Hole Breacher's ban made complete sense to me.
And I still want him back.
I do too. But I get Hole Breacher because it turned off the game. Like I get why I
get Ristic Study because it is a back-breaking card. Even though you have agency, all it takes is one person to be like,
I'm not gonna pay. And now the amount of card draw it gives you is insane.
So I could see that card getting banned, but like...
Same thing with Smothering. I look at it the same way. The one person that's like, I'm going to draw a lot of cards, bro, and I'm not paying for any of it. You're pretty much saying like, I'm going to king make you if I don't win. And it's like, damn.
The difference for me is that like Smothering Tides is like 4 mana.
I agree. And I also, me and you made this comment. You can have 50 treasures and no hand and do nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
No, I get it. Card draw is innately just powerful.
Yeah,
You're seeing more cards.
Mana is relative to card draw or a card with X in it. Card draw is just like good because like
it's just good.
even if you draw like 50 cards, you only get to keep 7. You get to keep these
cherry pick.
7 best cards
Yep.
out of 50. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, you going and cherry picking the best things you own is.
I have 102 mana on turn 2, but I have no cards in hand.
And you're not a
and
big
I can't
mana.
draw cards.
Yeah, and you're not a big mana
You're
matters.
just gonna sit there and just be like, I can play my commander till the end of time.
Vandal Blast? Please don't make me spend my money right now, please.
But yeah, do you have any further comments?
I'll say this. If you are mad about these bans, look at it from a perspective of this is just a reason for you to figure out a different way to work around it. If you're mad that you just spent the money, this is the nature of the game, and I'm sorry that you got caught on the wrong side of it.
A lot of places that do sell cards, if you have a ban within, I think it's like 15 days of you purchasing the card, they will refund you.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking mom and pops. It's not Walmart. You know what I mean? They're here. They love the community, and they love. That's why they normally have.
Like
these.
if you bought a Mana Crypt yesterday and it got banned today.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this card just got banned.
If they're looking at you like SOL, that's not a good card shop. But besides those players, you guys knew this kind of stuff was on the table. I'm not so surprised that I think it was wrong. I am surprised. But hey, on to the next cards and the new kings that will take these spots that were removed. Because that's all
that weren't even in your deck anyway.
Yep, it's gonna happen.
For me, this is a 7 out of 10 banning. I wish we had more time for Jeweled Lotus and Mana Crypt to sit for people to be like, all right, maybe I want to make some moves.
Yeah.
In regards, we sort of like cut the leg off and cauterize the wound. So like, yeah, your life did get saved, but I lost the leg.
Yeah. It's like, don't get me wrong, I'm grateful, but like, dang.
Dang, son, like.
That's a good example. It hurt, but I feel like it was a necessary evil.
Yeah, I feel like this was a, like, no decision is just purely good. It's going to affect somebody negatively in some way. People are going to be mad, especially Magic players are going to be mad because this community is just like very prone towards anger when anything changes.
Yes. I don't like change.
I don't like this. Does this affect you at all? No,
I didn't even own these cards, but I don't
like the way that they went about it. But you wanted these cards banned literally a month ago.
If you guys agree, let us know. If you don't, let us know. And if there are cards that you feel like should have been banned instead, comment below. I'm down to see what you guys are talking about. I'd really like to see what you guys feel would have been either more appropriate or just additions.
If you're going to talk about this, please be respectful. Do not go into the comment section and just start sawing at other people who don't share your
viciously
your niche opinion.
No,
this is all
You're
a card
correct.
game. We are all playing Magic the Gathering so that we can gather and have a fun time.
It's Magic
Please do not be toxic.
Fight them.
I mean,
go to the mountaintop and throw off your firstborn. You need them to become stronger. Just remember, that's how it works. And then when you get old, they throw you off the mountain, okay? Just, it's...
What is this, Midsommar?
Yes, exactly. Oh, it's also Tekken. I gotta help my son. He's gotta become stronger.
And then he's going to throw you off in the lava. And then when Tekken 8 comes back,
Yes.
you were really dead, but then you weren't.
I wasn't. Plot twist.
Plot twist.
I
I'm
had lava.
Heihachi
Yep.
with the thickest Steve Harvey mustache that you've ever seen.
Show me Tekken 8.
I am your honorable sensei.
And I am the vicious scumbag.
And together we are Longturnlarry Podcast. Bands?
Band?